Welcome to this sacred space, a channel devoted to awakening the divine power already living inside you. This isn't just another motivational video. This is a portal, a gateway to the truth Neville Goddard spent his life revealing to the world. That your reality is not something you chase, it's something you assume. If you've ever felt like you're doing everything right, repeating affirmations, visualizing, praying, and yet your life still looks the same, this message is for you, because the real block isn't in what you want, it's in what you feel, what you assume to be true about yourself when no one's watching. That's what we're going to unlock today. In the next few minutes, you're going to learn what almost no one is talking about: the forgotten key to manifestation. Not positive thinking, not hope, not effort, but feeling. A deep embodied feeling that your desire is already yours before there's any evidence in the physical world. Together we'll explore how to shift your inner state to match your desired reality, use imagination as your most powerful tool, reprogram your subconscious in the moments before sleep, break the cycle of limitation and lack, and live as if it is already done, because truly it is. So before we begin, do this: subscribe to this channel. This is your space to come back to every time you forget who you are. Leave a comment at the end sharing what spoke to your soul, because someone out there needs to hear your story too. And most importantly, share this message with someone you love, because when truth is shared, its power multiplies. Now take a deep breath, because what you're about to remember has the power to rewrite the rest of your life. Let's begin. Have you ever asked yourself, if I am the creator of my reality, then why does everything around me still feel so stuck? Why do the same patterns repeat? Why do the same problems return, even when I try to think positively, meditate, or trust the process? The answer is not in what you're doing. It's not even in what you're thinking. It's in what you are feeling, what you are assuming to be true at the core of your identity. You don't manifest what you want, you manifest what you are. Let that settle into your spirit. You don't manifest the dream relationship simply because you desire it. You manifest it when you become the version of yourself who feels already loved. You don't manifest wealth just by wishing for it, but by embodying the frequency of abundance before a single dollar arrives. Neville Goddard called this the law of assumption, and it's not just a philosophy, it's a law of consciousness, one that governs your entire life, whether you're aware of it or not. You see, the world around you is nothing more than a mirror. It reflects back to you the assumptions you carry in your inner world. If you assume that life is hard, it will be. If you assume that love is rare, it will hide from you. But if you dare to assume that life bends in your favor, you'll begin to see miracles in places you once saw impossibility. Here's the truth few people are willing to accept. The outer world does not change first. The inner world does. And for most people, this is the hard part, because it requires a complete rewiring of how we've been conditioned to live. We were taught to react to life, to respond to circumstances, to wait for signs, for evidence, for proof. But manifestation isn't about waiting. It's about creating, through feeling, through assumption, through identity. So if you're still waiting for your life to change before you feel different, you're doing it backwards. You must feel different first, then your life will change. This is why Neville's teachings remain timeless, because he cuts straight through the illusion. He doesn't ask you to struggle, to strive, or to earn your worth. He simply invites you to assume it, to assume the state of the wish fulfilled, to feel now what you've been waiting to feel someday. Because the universe doesn't work with someday, it works with now. It echoes the vibration you're in today, not the one you hope to be in tomorrow. So the real question becomes, can you feel yourself into the reality you've been waiting for? Can you surrender your doubts just long enough to become the person who already has it? That's where the power lies. But most people hit a wall at this point. They say, but how can I feel wealthy when I'm broke? How can I feel loved when I'm alone? How can I feel healthy when my body hurts? Here's the secret: imagination. Imagination is not childish, it is divine. It is the creative force of the universe. It is how everything you now see in the physical world was first born, in someone's mind. The chair you're sitting on, the phone in your hand, the home you live in, all of it, imagined first. Neville said man is all imagination and God is man and exists in us and we in him. You were never meant to be a victim of circumstance. You were designed to be a creator, not by force, but by assumption, not by hustle, but by consciousness. So let me ask you again, what are you assuming about yourself right now? Not what you're saying, not what you're wishing, but what you're feeling as real in this very moment. That feeling is the seed, and every seed bears fruit after its kind. If you want a new harvest, plant a new feeling. Start small. Close your eyes, breathe, and imagine yourself already living the life you dream of. Not as a fantasy, but as a present reality. Walk through your future home. See the sunlight hitting your skin through the window. Hear the laughter of your loved ones in the kitchen. Feel your hands on the steering wheel of your dream car. Smell the scent of your success in the air. And most importantly, feel the emotions. Feel the security, the pride, the joy, the ease, the freedom. Let that be your new normal. Because here's what happens next. When you consistently return to this feeling, when you make it your dwelling place, your subconscious begins to accept it as fact. And when your subconscious believes something, the universe must reflect it. Not out of reward, but out of law. Just as gravity doesn't reward those who believe in it more, the law of assumption doesn't choose favorites. It simply mirrors belief. So what you believe, deeply, emotionally, consistently, will form into your physical world. It cannot not happen. The problem is never in the law. The problem is always in the wavering, in the doubting, in the checking, in the hoping instead of knowing. Neville used to say, a change of feeling is a change of destiny, not a change of action, not a change of circumstance, a change of feeling. Because when you feel different, you become different. And when you become different, you act differently, and the world responds accordingly. But beware, this process is subtle. You won't always see results overnight. Sometimes the outer world takes time to reflect the inner shift. That's where most people give up. They plant a seed, then dig it up the next day wondering why it hasn't grown. Don't be like that. Stay in the assumption. Stay in the knowing. Stay in the identity of the one who already has it. Because if you do, something extraordinary happens. The old world begins to fade, and a new one rises in its place, shaped entirely by the power of your assumption. But here's the challenge. We live in a world that constantly demands proof. A world obsessed with results, with evidence, with seeing before believing. And yet, the universe works in the exact opposite way. It says, believe, and then you will see. Assume, and then it will appear. Feel, and then it will become real. This is not magical thinking. This is how the bridge between imagination and manifestation is built. This is how all things come into being. The world doesn't respond to what you say out loud. It responds to what you whisper to yourself in the silence of your own soul. So many people say they want change, but they keep rehearsing the old story. They replay the same pain, the same failures, the same identity, and then they wonder why nothing shifts. Here's the truth. You cannot bring a new world into being while clinging to the vibration of your past. You must let go of the old version of yourself, the one who was broke, the one who was unloved, the one who was sick, the one who was afraid. That version may feel familiar. It may feel comfortable, even in its discomfort, but it is not your truth. It is only a habit, a practiced assumption. And what is a habit? A thought you kept thinking, a feeling you kept returning to, a story you kept repeating until it became your reality. But you can change the story right now, in this moment. You don't have to wait for next year. You don't have to wait for healing. You don't have to wait for someone to love you, approve of you, or save you. You are the writer. You are the actor. You are the audience. You are the entire production. And your imagination is the script.
Neville said it simply: all transformation begins with an intense, burning desire to be transformed. So ask yourself, are you willing to let go of who you've been to step into who you were always meant to be? Because that shift won't come through willpower alone. It won't come from forcing your outer world to change. It comes from changing your inner state. Your state of being is everything. And state is nothing more than a feeling, a mood, a frequency, a lens. What you assume to be true in this state will determine what you allow yourself to receive. You may say, I want abundance. But if your state is rooted in lack, you're pushing abundance away with every thought, every emotion, every reaction. You may say, I want love. But if your state is one of unworthiness, you will sabotage every relationship before it begins. You may say, I want healing. But if your state is focused on illness, you are reaffirming the condition you want to escape. You must rise above the noise, above the evidence, above the appearance of things, not because it's easy, but because it's the only way forward. This is where most give up, because they still believe the outer world has the final word, but it doesn't. Your inner world speaks first, always. That's why Neville emphasized the power of persistence and assumption. Not a fleeting wish, not a weak maybe, but a constant return over and over to the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Even when nothing changes, even when things appear to get worse, even when every part of your mind screams, it's not working, that is when you dig your heels into the truth. That is when you stand tall in the storm. That is when your reality begins to shift. Because the old story will try to pull you back. It will try to tempt you with doubt, with fear, with evidence. But if you hold the new state, the world has no choice but to rearrange itself. And here's where something beautiful happens. You begin to notice small signs, synchronicities, moments that feel strangely aligned, people reaching out, ideas dropping into your mind out of nowhere. These are not accidents, these are echoes of a new reality being born through your assumption. And as you keep walking forward in faith, not seeing and then believing, but believing and then seeing, you'll wake up one morning and realize you're living the very life you once only imagined. So what's the catch? You have to let go of the timeline. You have to surrender your obsession with when. Neville was clear. Do not condition your desire. Do not insist it must come in this way, at this time, by this means. Let it come how it wants to come. Let it unfold in divine order. Your job is not to figure out the how. Your job is to maintain the state. And the only thing that ever accelerates it is your full embodiment of the new one. So how do you stay in that state? Simple. Practice. You build the habit of identity. You saturate your day with the feeling. You return to the scene in your imagination again and again until it feels more real than what your eyes see. You fall asleep in that state. You wake up in that state. You speak from that state. You move from that state. You live as though it were already done. Not because you're pretending, but because it already is. And the more natural that becomes, the faster your world transforms to match it. Because make no mistake, the world does not resist you. It reflects you. So if your life doesn't look how you want it to look, don't curse it.
Don't fight it. Don't blame it. Instead, assume something greater. Because you can. Because it's your birthright. Because the moment you change your assumption, you change your experience. And maybe, just maybe, that's why you're here right now, not by accident, but because your soul was ready to remember. So now that you remember, now that something deep inside you is stirring, maybe for the first time in years, let's talk about the most sacred moment of every day, the moment before sleep. Neville Goddard called this moment the bridge, the twilight between consciousness and unconsciousness, the final word your mind hears before it hands the reins to the subconscious. And your subconscious, it doesn't argue, it doesn't analyze, it doesn't negotiate, it only accepts. So whatever you feed it at the doorway of sleep, that becomes your command, that becomes your blueprint, that becomes your next reality. Most people go to sleep rehearsing the past, the bills, the fears, the failures. They fall asleep in worry and then wonder why they wake up anxious, stressed, or exhausted. But you can do something different now. You can use that sacred doorway to plant the seed of your new life. Here's how. Tonight when you lay down, close your eyes and breathe. Don't think about the world, forget the to-do list, forget what didn't happen today. Instead, enter a scene, a moment that implies your desire is already fulfilled. If you want abundance, imagine yourself checking your account and smiling. Feel the ease. Feel the freedom. Feel the gratitude. If you desire love, imagine someone holding your hand, whispering, "I'm so glad I found you." Feel the warmth, the safety, the joy. If you seek health, imagine yourself moving freely, laughing, dancing. Feel the strength, the lightness, the vitality. Don't just see it, feel it. Feel it as though it were already done. And here's the key. Don't break the state. Fall asleep in it. Let that be the final impression on your mind. Let it soak into your subconscious like ink on wet paper. Because your subconscious doesn't need to be convinced with logic. It just needs emotion, repetition, sincerity. And when you do this night after night, you'll begin to notice that your mornings feel different. You'll carry a sense of peace that wasn't there before. You'll notice little shifts, internal and external, that tell you something is changing. This is not fiction. This is not hype. This is consciousness in motion. This is how your reality changes, not from the outside in, but from the inside out. Neville often said, "Change your conception of yourself and you will automatically change the world in which you live." That conception lives in your state, in what you assume to be true about yourself. So, if you've been identifying with struggle, with delay, with not enough, you're not broken, you're just in the wrong state. And the moment you realize that, you can shift it, right now. Because states are like clothes. You can take one off and put on another. You are not stuck in any one forever. And here's what no one tells you. The longer you live in a state, the more normal it becomes. Even if it's suffering, even if it's scarcity, even if it's self-doubt. The mind doesn't cling to what's joyful. It clings to what's familiar. But you can retrain it, not by force, but by assumption. You must become intimate with the version of you who already has what you seek. Walk with them, talk like them, think like them, live as them. This is not delusion, this is design. You are designing your reality through the mirror of your identity. And the more consistent you are, the more the world bends to meet you. Let's get practical. Want to accelerate your manifestations? Here are 5 sacred habits Neville would smile upon. 1. Assume a new identity every morning. Before you pick up your phone, before you scroll, before you read one single email, pause and choose your identity. Say it silently. I am wealth. I am love. I am health. I am guided. I am already what I desire to be, and then act like it, even if nothing's changed, especially if nothing's changed, because that's when it matters most. 2. Use your imagination creatively. Don't let it run wild with fear. Don't let it rehearse worst-case scenarios. Instead, design scenes that imply success. Create movies in your mind. Be the director. Feel the emotions. Make it so vivid that your body believes it's real, because when the body believes, the subconscious follows. 3. Fall asleep in the state of the wish fulfilled, every night, without fail, even if you're tired, even if you had a hard day. Let your final thought be from your future self. Let your sleep become the soil where miracles are planted. 4. Speak from the end. Don't speak about your problems, speak about your promises. Say what you want as if it's already yours. I love waking up to financial freedom. My life is filled with love and support. Opportunities chase me everywhere I go. This isn't lying, this is leading your reality. 5. Refuse to react, choose to reassume. When things go wrong, don't panic. Return to the feeling, say, this is old, it's just residue. I no longer identify with this. And re-enter the state you've chosen. Because the world will test you, but that's only to see if you're serious. And if you hold your ground, if you remain unmoved, reality will shift in ways that defy logic. People will call it luck. They'll say you're blessed. But you'll know, you created it through the only thing that ever mattered, your assumption. So now, what will you do with this truth? Will you let it pass through your ears like so many other ideas, noble, inspiring, but soon forgotten? Or will you let it take root in your soul? Will you walk out of this moment not just informed, but transformed? Because here's the raw, unfiltered reality. You've always been manifesting. You've always been creating. Your current life, right now, this very second, is the echo of what you once assumed to be true. But now you know, now you see, now you understand the power that's always been yours. So the question is no longer, does it work? The question is, am I ready to take responsibility for everything I create? Are you ready to feel your way into a new identity? Not just when it's easy, but when it's inconvenient, when it's dark, when the world tempts you to fall back into the old story? Because that's the real initiation. That's where few go. That's where you separate the seekers from the shapers, the ones who dabble from the ones who decide. You see, when you decide, when you commit to assuming the identity of the version of you that already has it, life begins to obey. Not because you're lucky, not because you're chosen, but because the law cannot be broken. And the law is this: what you feel is true becomes true, not eventually, not if you deserve it, not if the stars align. It becomes true because you aligned with it internally, and everything external is just catching up. So when your mind begins to question, and it will, when doubt whispers, when old habits try to pull you back, when the evidence still shows up empty, breathe, smile, and return to the feeling, because the feeling is the key, the feeling is the proof, the feeling is the prayer. Let go of needing to control the process. Let go of trying to manipulate the form. Let go of timing. Let go of method. Let go of the how. And instead, stand tall in the who. Who are you now? Not who were you yesterday. Not who others say you are. Not who you used to be in pain or fear or struggle, but who are you now? Now that you know the truth. You are the one who sees beyond appearances. You are the one who assumes greatness. You are the one who lives from the end, even when the beginning looks messy, even when the middle looks uncertain. You hold the vibration, and the rest bends to meet you. This isn't theory, this is spiritual physics. And it will never fail you if you never fail to hold your state. So begin. Begin today. Begin now. Start with one assumption, just one, that you are worthy, that you are safe, that you are supported, that what you desire is not far away, but waiting for you to claim it, that it already exists in the invisible realm, and your job is not to build it, but to receive it through identity. Every time you step into that state, you open the door wider, you become more magnetic. You attract not by chasing, but by becoming. And when people ask you later, how did you do it? What changed? How did your life shift so fast? You'll smile. And maybe you'll say, I didn't change the world, I changed myself. And the world followed. You'll know the secret they never taught you in school. That you don't fight reality to change it. You assume a new one, and reality morphs to match. This is what Neville Goddard gave us. Not just hope, but authority. Not just possibility, but divine responsibility. You are the operant power. Not luck, not fate, not genetics, not background. You.
And that truth, once accepted, makes you unstoppable. So let today be the turning point. Let this not be another video you liked, then forgot. Let this be a spiritual contract between you and your highest self, that from this moment forward you will no longer beg for change, but embody it. You will no longer wait for permission. You will declare your new identity with bold, unwavering faith. You will no longer ask, when will it happen? Instead, you will whisper to the mirror every morning, it already has. And when you do, the mirror will change. The world will shift. Doors will open. People will appear. Opportunities will fall into your lap. Not because you chased them, but because you became someone they couldn't ignore. You became the magnetic force you were always meant to be. That is the gift of assumption. That is the miracle of imagination. That is the power of knowing, not hoping, but knowing, deep in your bones, that reality is nothing more than the outpicturing of your consciousness. And you, dear soul, you were born to create. So take this message with you. Return to it when you forget. Rewatch it when your faith wavers. Let it be your anchor. Let it be your map. But most importantly, let it be the beginning of a new story, a new identity, a new life. And when your manifestation arrives, because it will, I want you to come back to this video and tell us what happened. Tell us the first shift, the first breakthrough, the first miracle, because your story will awaken someone else. Your story will become someone's turning point. So before you go, do this. Drop a comment below. Tell us what desire you're assuming into reality today. Let it be a public declaration. Share this message with someone you love, because when we awaken together, we rise faster, stronger, deeper. Subscribe to this channel. This is not entertainment, this is transformation. And in the coming days, we'll go even deeper into the works of Neville Goddard and explore new ways to apply this power to your money, your health, your love, your purpose. This is just the beginning, because now that you know, you can never go back. Assume it, live it, become it,